The Studio is an absolute TV masterpiece. For film fans and people who just want an inside look into Hollywood, this is the best satirical outlook of how studios work in getting films made today, and I'm so excited to talk about this show. Everybody, welcome back to a brand new TV review for Apple TV's brand new show, The Studio, directed and written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who for me, I'm just a massive fan of whatever they produce, write, and specifically direct. And the fact that they came in and directed this entire series, and I can say this is the best thing they've done yet, is so satisfying, because this is about Matt, played by Seth Rogen, who's the newly appointed head of the Continental Studios. He attempts to save the floundering company in an industry undergoing a rapid social and economic change. Now, to a whole kind of view, this is very much the over-the-top view of how studios work. If you wonder how a show was made, or a movie, such as like the Barbie film. When that was announced, everyone thought it was the dumbest idea you possibly could have done. Movie came out and it's actually pretty damn good because you had like Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach behind it in making the film. But now, this takes that whole view but looks at other projects. And for me, I found The Studio to be not just hilarious, but a fantastic inside look into Hollywood, but also it has the chaotic energy of Uncut Gems, Babylon, Wolf of Wall Street, with this poignant and satirical, sharp nature to it that will make you laugh, that will make you feel on edge, and will make you have a little bit of a better insight into the entire studio outlook. And this, for me, is my favorite show of the year. I'm almost done with Paradise, which is also a phenomenal series. Daredevil Born Again is also great. It's amazing. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of other shows. But like when it comes down to TV that I love, I'm very, very biased towards Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Majority of the comedies they've made, I absolutely loved. Some of my favorites of all time. And the fact that they made a show and it's speaking about Hollywood, and it's poking fun at it, and it's chaotic, and a lot of the episodes, in a sense, are actually a one-shot take, or at least edited to be that way, and there's even an episode that literally deals with a oneer. This is the series that I cannot recommend more to film fans, but also just to people who want to get a better inside look into Hollywood. And I'm so excited to talk about this series today. So make sure to leave your thoughts down below, hit that like, subscribe button. And again, this will be a non-spoiler review. I'm going to do my best to not talk about certain things that happen later in the season. I'm going to stay as vague as possible because I think that's the best way to get the jokes. But I might talk about certain things that they do discuss or go through inside the series. And to kind of just speak to that, that was actually one of the things I was most surprised by, is how episodic this show is. Second he gets appointed, every episode is basically a different day in the life of a studio head. Award shows, going to film sets, discussing in meetings, marketing, test screenings, all these sorts of things. Like, they really go through every little avenue, even up until CinemaCon. They go to big events like that, CinemaCon, Comic-Cons, like stuff like that, and they discuss the importance of these and how it can really much influence a lot of different things in the fan base and social media. And again, they clamor onto all these things, and I thought that was the best way to do this. It won't be everyone's cup of tea. I think some people will like that it's more structured, but there are plot lines that go from episode to episode, specifically something to do with Kool-Aid, which I'm just going to leave it there. You'll never think about Kool-Aid the same again after finishing this show, and it's absolutely hilarious how they do it. But the second I started this series, I binged it in one sitting, basically, and I was absolutely hooked. And the fact that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg decided to, again, do the episodic nature, I thought was smart. The way that each episode is created is in such a chaotic and a massive blend. I love the usage of a handheld camera and the way that it's just kind of running through the scenes and really feeling like it's in the day of the life. It barely ever cuts. It does feel like a one-shot take almost every single time. And I would say like some episodes it'll cut and whatnot, but for the most part, it feels like a oneer, which I'm just really appreciative that they actually pulled it off, but pulled off the sense that it never drips away from what you're viewing. And again, I love how this series pokes fun at all that. I also love how this series pokes fun at other directors, writers, actors, even some that are like very inside baseball, like Sarah Polley. Like, that is something in here that they discuss and is even in here. There's other cameos in here that kind of just surprised me, specifically in like the first 2 episodes, which again, I thought was hilarious and points fun at some of the things that director is in here and the usage of it. If they name someone, you're probably going to see him in here. And that made me laugh in the usage of how they bring them into here. But also feeling like those actors, they're not just playing themselves, they're playing in a more over-the-top version of them. And it kind of works. Which, speaking about all the actors in here as well, like Seth Rogen, I think is phenomenal as Matt. I love how chaotic he is and how stressed he is and how he's just trying to do something that's a little bit different than what other studio heads are and wants to be the cool studio head, but also has to find that right balance. And, you know, how do you find that right balance in Hollywood? And there's one discussion he has early on in the first 2 episodes with one specific director that, I mean, it was amazing. And then there's another one later on that deals with a test screening that I thought was just brilliant. Catherine O'Hara, I think, is one of the shining spots of this as Patty. I think the usage of her character is very interesting to her outlook into Hollywood. Ike Barinholtz, I've always been a fan of him. I think he's hilarious in here. Chase Sui Wonders, really underrated. Kathryn Hahn just brings the dirty, and I love it. It goes on and on. All the cameos that you see in here, all the other actors, every single one of those moments makes this show worthwhile. And again, going to these different events, whether it is a convention or whether it's an award show, which is absolutely hilarious, and maybe wanting someone to give you a thank you in a speech because your name's nowhere in the credits. I mean, these are ideas and discussions that they have that just as it kept going, I just kept laughing more and more and more and having a blast. And I didn't want this show to end. I was actually really sad when the show ended, even though I loved the ending of season 1. And I truly very much hope that we get a season 2 because, as I mentioned, this is my favorite show of the year. I just don't see anything beating it. When you have phenomenal performances, a fantastic idea, a great satire, and also the chaotic energy of Uncut Gems, it just all mashes together to be such a glorious experience. And I found myself out loud verbally laughing on every episode. I'm already going back through on another rewatch because of how addictive this show is and how entertaining it is. And a lot of that might be because I'm into the film industry. I love film. I love all these stuff. I love all the little cameos. I love all the little things that like they reference. And I'm like, oh, that's like that. Like a general going audience wouldn't get that. But the jokes, what I really like about it is it does open an idea for my dad, who's not like super into movies. He likes watching movies, but like doesn't really know much about the studio industry. Could watch this and think it's funny because of all those aspects. Same thing with like my wife. My wife obviously hears me talk about movies all the time, but it's the fact that she would be able to watch this show, get some good laughs out of it, and maybe wouldn't understand all the jokes or understand all the little Easter eggs or nuances, but she would still have a blast with it and get a better inside baseball look into the industry. And I think that's the biggest thing, the most clever thing that the studio does, is it is an inside of the industry, how it works. Found, again, the studio to be a masterpiece. It blends the chaotic energy of Uncut Gems with a sharp insider's view of Hollywood, and it's without a doubt the best thing that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg have done yet, offering an inside look at how the studio system really works. I cannot recommend this show enough. It starts premiering now. I'd watch it week to week if I were you. I'm very lucky that I got to watch it all in one binge, but I promise you once you start watching it, you're going to be putting it on your calendar to watch it every single week. So with all that said, I'm going to give the studio an A+. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Make sure to hit like and subscribe and comment down below your guys' thoughts. And of course, until next time, stay classy.